temper some Samoan Cane Knives in the morning sun. There's one. Need to straighten them out and temper them. So let's do that. I'm going to do one at a time so I don't burn them by accident. Yes, you can burn steel for those who aren't familiar with steel. Let's open up this board. Now we play the waiting game. Nice. Is the other one I have to work on. So there's two I have to temper this morning. Almost. The thing about blacksmithing is it's a process, a slow one. That's why they don't use us anymore. All right. Want a nice even heat. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments or the live chat, depending on when you're looking at this video. Oh, the fire straightened it a little bit. That's nice. Nice of the fire. Straighten it out a little bit more. Now, most of the straightening has to be done in the handle. I see that now. Let's get the handle hot and we'll straighten the handle. I should say tang. It's really a tang. The handle is much longer than what you're seeing here. For those who don't know what a Samoan cane knife looks like. That warm up. This one also needs to be straightened, so we'll work on that right after. Give that another minute to heat up. Looks like we got one person watching. I guess that's me, right? I don't know how that works. I'm not sure how to look at the chat in the horizontal orientation, but I'll figure that out shortly. Focus on this heat. enough heat to straighten out the tang. Little, as we say, love taps. You don't want to, it's easy to overcorrect with blacksmithing, so always be careful. I see some torquage I don't like. Some of this I'll remove with the file and angle grinder, and not angle grinder, but belt sander. There's one small spot here that worries me. It still worries me. Not a fan. Alright. So this one needs to be marked. So we'll do that now. Put my maker's mark on it. Right after I finish the blade edge, the blade edge needs a little straightening too. When you're dealing with a large flat piece of steel, it likes to do this while you forge it, so you have a lot of this tedious flattening you got to do afterwards once it's done being forged. That, or you have a nightmare trying to file all the different surfaces level. Checking to see how the chap system works here. All right, so I can see the chat now. Got that all set up, so we're good to go. For straightening. Oh, that's much better. Except for this. You're always chasing. Especially with the steel is a memory steel, metal rather. It remembers its former forms to an extent. And certain things trigger those forms to take action again once they're no longer present visibly. A little more. Of course, all this straightening can be undone by the tempering process. Alright, so I'm going to put my mark on this now. Probably where the tang meets the blade. More charcoal on here. Quick spin. Very nice. You see the anvil in this? You won't be able to see the anvil. Oh, shoot. That's... Now you can see the anvil better. Sorry about that. We'll see. No, it's a good heat. Although I'm going to switch it up to a heavier hammer. Make sure my tool is oriented correctly. It is. Anvil is clean. Just like that. Yeah, that's what not to do. Wet hammer makes it slip, but it's alright. I gotta dig it out of the bucket now. It's covered in oil, so it didn't hurt it too bad. Well, that's marked, but not as well as I'd like it to be. I'll try that again. Easy to grind that off because of the skip. People don't realize how much goes into the trial and error of building something with the forge. Yeah, I can grind that out. I'll give it a new one. On the other side. Try that again. More time here, let that heat up. Now fuck off. Well, that's stupid shit. Excuse my language. Water got splashed down here, now it's leaving black marks everywhere. We're almost at temperature. Almost. A little bit more heat. Hot enough. Then it's here, so that this is placed correctly. Wipe the hammerhead off this time. A little messy. Switch it up to the other hammer. Get more control with it, even though it's lighter. You don't need many strong hits in this process. I'm going to knock it straight in line with itself. Makes it easier to clean. Now it's time for tempering. So let's get that hard. And for that, we need to move that so the oil can get to the oil. Then we'll work on the second one. Or I might make that a video for my channel if no one's watching. Looks like we got no one watching right now. Matter of time. We need a long heat for this. At least on the very edge of the blade. Getting there, almost the heat. You can see the oil buckets here. So I'll move that so you can see that now. The camera, that is. Turn off the blower. Move the camera angle so you can see the oil. There you go. Watch this happen now. Right in she goes. Like so. Give that a second. Grab it from the top so it doesn't do that weird drop down thing it likes to do, so I can do this. There we go. That's good enough for now. So what I'm going to do is put it in the vise. Set this here for now. Back in the oil. Put this in the vise to cool off so it doesn't warp in weird ways. Full length of the tang and the blade. All right. Sorry about that off camera. All right, so we're gonna go back to the anvil now to do the other one. The other one's been, it's gonna be cool now, so there you go. So here's the other one for those that's joining. I'm gonna heat this up, gonna straighten it, mark it with my maker's mark, throw it in the oil for the tempering in the morning sun. Fire. Maybe. There it is. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. I'll be able to see it, I believe. Titan, we are doing Samoan Cane Knives. Samoan Cane Knives. They're like this long with the handles. So the metal part's only about this big. I got a few knife projects that I'm working on. This Samoan knife I gotta get done. Then I got a barbecue knife that I need to do, a South American version. And I also have an Anglo-Saxon knife to put a handle on. I can show you that while this is heating up, actually. The Anglo-Saxon knife is here. I need to put a hole in it, in the handle. So this is the Anglo-Saxon knife that needs to be handled. And take this glove off. Don't need that anymore. So it's going to get a bone handle. So you'll get this kind of look out of the knife when it's done. So this is like an 8th century design. I'm copying from the British Museum. I'll do that later though. More tongs. Yep, getting this. The first heat always takes longer. Just gotta there's some bows in the back spine of the blade I need to take out from the forging. Needs another minute. Yeah, it's not like a scythe. It's more like, yeah. It does a slash like a scythe, but doesn't have the hook on it is purely for grabbing canes of sugar or people or other weapons. It was more of a weapon than it was a tool in Samoa. Let's put it that way. Almost. We're getting there. To do a doom stream. No, gotta stream until I get so many subscribers, right? 3 days later. No, I'm just going to do this before lunch. I'm going to temper these and I'll handle them in a separate video or live stream, basically. Check the messages here. I think it's just you, Titan. Yeah. That's enough heat to knock the bends out of it. Cool point. See that? Yeah, you can. Good. Knocking this light curve out of that. That's gone. Now we're going to bend in here. I'm going to heat up here with that. I'll go get the handle so you can see how long these are when they're done. Just a second. Be right back. See here, I have this piece of, what are you? Unknown. But this is the length of the handle of the cane knife. So imagine that plus the extra steel on that. That's quite long. I bought that handle. Normally I buy my own wood, make my own handles, but something that long, it's hard to come by out of custom materials. Most of my wooden blocks are like half that length because I only make knives and hammer handles and things like that. Let's get this straightened out. Could also use the vise and cheat. I'm just gonna hammer that out. I have to put my maker's mark still on here, which is gonna bend it all to hell. Oops. There we go. You see, I got cat-like reflexes. That's gonna need a little bit more heat. Get the heat on that and get my glove on to do the maker's mark. Then I'm gonna fix the tang a little bit more on the knife. Once the tang is in the right angle, then I'll quench that in the oil as well. Glove. Need that. That's important. Maker's mark. Yeah, I'll give you a close up on that so you can see what that looks like. That's my maker's mark, which is the city shield of Bacharach, which is the town in Germany I'm the blacksmith of. Let's see. I think that's hot enough. Let's do it. But we're going to use the heavier hammer for that, which is here, ready to go. There it goes. Tool. Correct angle. There it is. Wash your hand on the huts. The smell of burnt leather. Now I'm going to straighten it out because when you hit it with the maker's mark, it goes all over the place. Regrip that. There we go. Only a slight problem there. Again, I got to grab it from the end, get a true idea. Almost. The rest I can take off with a file or a grinder, the 2x72. Time to get this one hot. Well, this one actually needs, this needs a little bit of edge straightening first, but we'll see how that goes. I can forge this edge out a little bit, or I can leave it as is. And I'm probably going to leave it as is because it's more traditional to form, because the museum in New Zealand sent me photos of the one I'm recreating, and it wasn't terribly forged. It was just a tool. Nothing too fancy. So let me straighten that angle, and then we're ready to quench this in the oil. I'm gonna get some paper towels and wipe, or towel in general, to wipe off the oil off the other one. Probably still too hot to touch. See, this is what the other one looks like. All quenched in oil. I still gotta temper it. It's hardened, but this gives you the idea of what this is going to be. Plus the handle on it, it's just like a massive weapon. Personal incinerator. Oh, I guess I could do this for you. Now you can imagine the entire thing together. be looking at a tool like this. This is a Samoan cane knife, basically. This is scary. Alright. Let's straighten this out so I can temper it. The steel I'm using is 1084 carbon steel. See if I can get it to flatten out. Might need more heat. Fix that bends. Alright. Thinking if I want to change that at all. One more heat. One more heat because I'm OCD about it. I want it to have a better spine on the tool, on the cane knife. Just checking the chat real quick, in case I missed anything. Oh, no, I'm making it to sell, basically. One of them, I'm going to take some of the profits and give it to the museum, and the other one, I'm just going to keep all the profits. Basically, that's my plan. So they're for sale. Everything has a price. More heat. More heat. Another 30 seconds in the fire, it should be ready to come out. And then we'll flip it around to the fire and heat the other side. It's good for people to watch this and they can get an idea of how much time goes into forging things by hand instead of just a machine going zap, 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 done. This is a much different process. But people want to pay exactly the same for the zap, zap, zap and for this. So this is why I do these things. There we go. That's getting there. Getting that all in line nicely. Oh yeah. Oh yes. All right. Let's hammer that straight again. Without dropping it. Use a little bit more love right there. Yes. The rest of this I can just grind off or file off. They say 5 minutes on the forge just saves you an hour on the file. That's an old saying, so keep that in mind. The other side we go. Now traditionally you would hammer edge these, but according to the museum document, it looks like they just took a piece of bar stock and they filed the edge on it. They didn't forge the edge on it. One of these is a forged edge, one of them is going to be a filed edge. So the one that's filed edge is more traditional. And to the one I'm building it to. There's probably a half a dozen metal Samoan cane knives. The name for it's like can't even say it in Samoan, but the name is also for the same wooden hook tool slash weapon that they use. It's a wooden hook. But this is basically like the steel variant that they kind of like mixed like a whaler's blubber cutting tool and a sugar cane tool and a weapon, which is their traditional hook, wooden hook thing. So like, this is an amalgamation of those three ideas. We're gonna need more charcoal. Let's get some more charcoal. First, organize that fire with a rake. Yeah, organize. This shop burns around 100 kilos of charcoal or 200 pounds of charcoal per 40 hours of usage, basically. So, in the United States, Canada, Northern Hemisphere, Europe, that's expensive. Here in South America, where we have trees that grow to maturity in 5 years, not a big deal. This is mostly eucalyptus and other fast-growing trees, usually invasive trees or farmed trees. And charcoal is a big deal here in South America. It's part of the culture. So it's much more affordable. So 200 kilos, 200 pounds, 100 kilos sounds like a lot. But I'll spend the same amount in 2 or 3 bags of blacksmithing wool back in the United States or in Germany. So it's much easier to run this here with a much cleaner fuel. Oh God, we need more heat. That is not where it needs to be. These longer pieces require like stage heating in the forge. You kind of have to braille it back and forth over time for it to get a solid heat. Glass going. One of the reasons why I wear this apron, protecting all those sparks. The wall of my shop is open over here on the street side, so a lot of the wind just comes in, defeats the natural draft of the chimney. That's being pulled sideways naturally, by the way. Oh yeah, much more heat. A little bit more charcoal. Try not to knock my brick wall down here. Easier said than done. Move the steel again. Here comes the wind. Sometimes I hide behind the chimney. Like that. But I like having a theater shop so people can see, like there's a school bus stop right there. The kids get to see blacksmithing as they wait for their bus. Right? Go. Gonna clean this up a little bit. Don't need the heavy hammer anymore. That won't fall any further. All right. This requires some straightening too. I can do the straightening and the quenching in one heat. I got my glove on, so I'm ready for the back flash. back and forth now. Keep that heat I need. There we go. Check the straightness, which is pretty impressive actually. Just gonna hit it right up here. And she, sometimes the heat in the fire will make it bend, so it's not exactly where it needs to be. I'll quench it now. It was close. If I let it go any colder, it would have not have hardened correctly. And it's okay if it doesn't harden real great. This is 1084 steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and go and put it in the vise. You can see the vise from there. Hopefully I'm not in the way. The vise, as it cools, helps preventing it from like doing a banana, which is more common in non-homogeneous steels. This is a homogeneous steel, so we have less to worry about. But it still can happen, of course. Alright, so lock in part of the spine with the tang so they stay in line with each other. Like so. And that'll be left to cool till after lunch. Although I see something I don't like, so I'm going to fix it. While it cools, you have some wiggle room to make changes. So do it if you can. Do it if you can. Yeah. Sometimes you have to redo that whole process because this is way too much of a curve. You'll see it like in the shows like Forge and Fire that I was in, that if you quench it on an angle, or sometimes there's something weird with the steel, it'll go this way, it'll go that way. It's a nightmare. Sometimes you can grind that out, but sometimes it's so drastic you just have to do it all over again. So that's what's up with that. All right, well, thanks for hanging out for the first live stream. For those who watch this after the fact, also thank you. And there'll be more like this in the future as long as this gets views and things and people comment. And I'll be posting some videos of these finished knives being tested within the next day or two. All right, talk to you soon.